12:00 p.m. at City Hall upstairs meeting room. If we could go out into the lobby and say the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great.
Now you can go ahead because I always hear everybody wait for me to say,
Marty's doing it on her phone.
Well, I'll do it for you.
Okay.
I would like to thank everybody first of all for coming. It's great to see people here. Hopefully being at noon we can see more. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda.
Motion, Rich.
Second, James.
Any additions, subtractions? Chief?
I think I'm good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Number 3, discussion on fireworks.
I believe what we need to discuss here is the approach that we have to handling fireworks. Obviously, if you attended any of the public forums that we had reference the fireworks in the times and that kind of stuff, it was at the very least debated and pretty mixed as a community on times and things like that. So the next step is for the police department to really have a good plan going forward as to what we plan on doing enforcement-wise. And the enforcement that we've always done before is the first time we run into somebody, it's a warning, and that works 95% of the time that we don't have to return. If we do return, we confiscate fireworks, and if for some reason, if they get fireworks the third time, we confiscate the fireworks and write them a citation in the amount of $125 is the finable amount for fireworks. We've always tried to use judgment in this. The person coming home at midnight and wanting to start shooting off big fireworks is a problem. It might be addressed differently than a 10-year-old the day before shooting them off at 8 o'clock in the evening. You know, that's a different scenario totally. The fine is set by the judge, so we really don't have a lot of leeway there without approaching the judge and asking him to change the bond amount, which we could do. This is the time to do it if we want to look at changing our bond amount on that or petitioning the judge to look at changing that bond amount, because he sets the bond schedule that becomes effective July 1st. So if he puts his signature on that sometime in June and gets it out to us, so we have that, so.
And the bond amount right now is at 175 or
I
something?
think it's 125.
And we discussed at the meeting to set it the first morning at 500 and then it increases to 1,000.
A class 2 misdemeanor, the highest we can go for a fine is $200, I believe. They might have increased that a little bit, but it's right in there. But with fines and costs, it's gonna be closer to 277.
2-1.
277 would be the actual ticketed amount, because there's fines and costs to the courts.
Are we still, okay, so if we're gonna change the bond amount, we need to take action on that, correct? So it's documented.
I would say that we should document it, and basically requesting me to go to the judge, or if you guys would like to go to the judge with me, it's Judge Day is our presiding judge, so it's local and easy. So probably take some action to show that we attempted to go increase the fine for fireworks.
Okay, I make a motion to allow Chief Jones to talk to Judge Day to increase the bond amount from 125 to 500 for the first offense.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We also discussed going through the fireworks stands and identifying if we could possibly identify those.
Fritz is on board with me for that. I'm sure that the Johnsons would also be more than happy to
Oh, yeah.
assist me with that. We almost lost a hand last year due to an illegal firework, so we need to step up. That is the county, so I'll have to get permission from Fred, but I can't imagine him having any issues with that whatsoever. And that is on the plan, along with doing some media releases before, including, I've always done it on Facebook, but we'll put it on the display, the message board that we have, the digital message board, displaying that someplace fairly prominent, letting people know the dates and times, and then in the newspapers also.
I think we also, if we get the increase of the bond done, I think we also need to advertise that.
But we can certainly have the newspaper write a story on the fact that the fine increased with the dates and times, so that if you're in violation.
There needs to be-
Fines, I have.
I've already got it down here, I was gonna
Um,
talk about it.
Maybe I'm confused on how this works. When you ticket somebody, that's not based off of ordinance violation, is it, or is it?
Can be.
Because I know that per ordinance, if they're in violation of our fireworks ordinance or any ordinance, you can fine them for that too.
The
But I
law,
think that's
the law that they would be
the city that
breaking
does
is
that.
just a city ordinance.
Yeah.
The judge still sets the bond amounts, because it's a bond amount. It's a POA bond, so that bond amount is set by the judge in the annual bond schedule.
And I think 200 dollars is the maximum we can do by ordinance. So.
And then there's still, like I said,
But that's
there's still fees on top of that, there's court cost fees that will be included in that, so it'll be roughly $270.
County
Now,
ordinance?
am I mistaken, or is it my understanding that fireworks is classified as something that gives sound and light? And so these huge explosions we've been hearing the last few years, those are illegal, right?
Those are legal.
Legal or illegal?
You can possess those and shoot those.
With just a loud noise and no light?
No different than a firecracker.
I mean,
Firecrackers have always been allowed.
these things, actually, they're, what somebody is doing, I think, is adding gunpowder to something else and blowing these things off, because
I'm absolutely amazed at how powerful thing, because, you know, in my thirties, I didn't shoot off fireworks, then I had kids and I started shooting them off again, and the difference from me being a kid and shooting these things off to what they are today is,
I've got cut windows in my garage for them, so I know that I don't think they're quite illegal.
and we can certainly investigate those, it's so tough to investigate after they go off, that's why we're hoping to go to the fireworks stands before, and at least make sure what we're seeing is legal, and
I
then,
think these are homemade. They're-
they certainly could be.
That's,
If you know where they're coming from, we can certainly investigate that, because homemade ones, you can usually find debris.
Stacy?
I know, in a lot of the discussions, they were talking about, well, the county is right there, so is there any visiting with the county about their ordinances, or what are their ordinances?
I will certainly approach the town commission if that's what you guys wish me to do, to see if we can ban a section at least of Butte County, you know, whether it be Helmer Road or,
The way they combat it is just through their burn ban, which doesn't do a damn thing.
Right.
Well,
That's
don't-
really all they have.
Okay. What is that 3-mile radius around Belfou?
That's the jurisdictional lines from where the actual, that we can,
they give us a legal right to enforce.
we can.
And we can't enforce county ordinance, we can enforce state law in that area.
Okay,
Because we're not sworn deputies, we can't enforce their ordinances, and we can't enforce our ordinances on that area.
The thing with
We can
the-
look at it, and that's something we could do.
with the June newsletter, the things that are going to come out there and go on the Facebook and the website are going to be the actual ordinance, and I thought we were gonna put something in the paper too.
Yeah, we'll do some press releases, especially when we get the bond changed, we'll do a story and then run a couple
But
of
then
ads
I'm
also.
gonna run something in the newsletter about that too,
That's a
and,
good idea.
and then by that time, which will be the June one, I should know about these rates, and I can put those in there too.
Yeah, I'll try to get with Judge Day fairly quickly and see what I can do there.
Well, and I know that if we increase that bond, those fireworks stands would be more than, from what I gather, they'll be more than happy to hand that out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, especially if we run the copies.
Yeah,
I can't imagine they'd have an issue with it, at least I know the two responsible ones. I don't know if that third one will open this year or not.
I don't know either. I haven't heard. Anything else on fireworks? Number 4, discussion on police department open house.
June 11th, 10 to 1. We'll be serving some food again. We've invited BLM, Game Fish and Parks, Fire Department, Sheriff's Office, Highway Patrol, everybody to come participate with us. We got kids' activities, maybe not as much as we'd quite like to see, but kind of similar for those that were there last year, be similar to that. Instead of doing a taser demonstration, we got the simulator from the state, which is basically a very large video game. It'll be set up in the training room, and it's a use of force simulator. So one person goes up there and has to deal with this scenario just like we would. It's fully interactive. Somebody runs it according to how you respond to an individual. The individual will respond accordingly. So it's fully interactive with somebody running the scenario the entire time. And it can go from anywhere from just talking to people to having to use pepper spray or a taser to actually, if your life is in jeopardy, to what we would have to cross as a threshold to engage in deadly force. We originally talked about doing a sign up. What I think I would like to do instead is invite a couple of media people to participate in that, and then also a couple of council people.
I wanna see Gloria get tased.
Gloria doesn't get tased, Gloria gets to do the tasing.
See?
No,
And if you
that's
happen
not
to-
fair. That's
Gee.
favoritism.
Simulated.
The first one, I
I can
he's
see
gonna
it
pick
coming.
you on.
That's kinda like that dunking tank, you know, when you look around for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You always
So
gotta blend
this
in.
summer.
Yeah,
So
you
I
do.
nominate James and Stephen to step up to the plate on that.
Okay, it's gotta be the young guys,
Right.
those old guys could have a heart attack or something. so,
Why can't you
know.
medically?
I heard I will die.
I'll do it. And Gloria will do it with me.
I'll tase, yeah.
There will be no tasers
If you
this year.
promise not to kill me, I'll be tased.
No promises.
Can we just throw water balloons at police officers?
We could do that.
What a way to go
I mean,
out.
because if we can't get a dunk take,
That's a good idea.
I wanna throw water.
At an open house.
That's a good idea. We should-
President and vice president tased to death.
like we do.
Well, you know what? We'll just have you hold hands and we'll put a clip on each side and we'll let you both get tased at the same time.
Think about it this
Start on her
way.
end.
The ambulance will be there anyway.
That'll be their training day.
This is getting violent.
And it can go, it doesn't have to be necessarily from the police committee if there's another council person that we think would do well with the use
Well,
of
how
force.
about-
Can it be a
how about
past
Jim?
council?
Jim, that's cheating,
Why?
because he's a,
Because he's
No.
trained.
So
in.
he knows how to handle it.
It's you and me.
Let me think about it.
No, she's in.
there's no, you're not harmed at all. All you do is talk to people and then if you have to yell at them, you yell at them, and if you have to use force, you use force
All right,
before they kill you.
okay.
Tell her, give her.
And we'll have it a couple days before,
I'm just
so
gonna
if you might come
swing.
walk through a scenario
Okay, we'll
before
do
the day of.
Yeah, that would be good.
Change your psychology.
Okay.
We can do
I'm
that
in.
for you.
Okay.
Other than that, Stephen just mentioned throwing water balloons at police officers. Something that came out of the advisory committee was, the poverty in some of our students and how that leads to other issues for the police department in the schools and things like that. James and I discussed doing some fundraising to start to get a little money into a fund for that we have just kind of a revolving system that we can call on that.
I think that's a good idea.
If we have
It's gonna
you wanna throw pies at the chief of police and I gotta raise money for kids, bring the pies on, I'm happy to do whatever.
Yeah, not water balloons, so that's.
You wanna throw water balloons, I don't care what you.
In return, pies would be better,
I
I think.
can't afford pie, I can afford water balloons.
Well, it's a can of whipped cream and a pie shell.
Yeah,
And we can
exactly.
reuse the pie shell.
Shouldn't be a good burden.
So be thinking, come to me with any ideas, we got plenty of time to put something into place to raise some money for, and that's what I'd like to see that fund. I talked to we originally discussed possibly using our church, what am I looking for? The church fund.
Like a
Ministerial
benevolent fund.
Association.
Oh.
There is a benevolent association that started in the Catholic Church, but it's for the whole Northern Hills that is specifically for this. They go do home studies and things like that, so I think that might be a really, really good partnership for us, and they can earmark that money specifically for Belpouche, and so there's some good accountability along with those funds to make sure we're going to that place. So if they come up with a good fundraising idea at the open house, I guarantee I'm game.
Okay, that's
Okay?
Do you serve lunch that day then? or-
Yes,
Yeah.
there's hot dogs, chips, soda,
So-
or Kool-Aid or something.
Gloria and I could cook.
you down.
Listen to this thing.
I can help
have to cook
too. I'll be
Saturday
there to
and,
That's a great place for
Wow.
people to be, you'll have some officers with you, but that's where everybody will come, so it's a great place
You'd
to
have to bring it
work
up
with the
for
police
yourself.
officers, so.
And the CHIP program just confirmed with me yesterday that they will be there, set up with their whole computer system to do the child ID kits.
oh boy.
Gloria, we can practice this Saturday and then we'll have it fine tuned for then. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. We
All
should
right.
hope what we're doing.
Anything else on open
Nope.
house? Okay. Number 5, recommendation to hire Paul Whitgriff as a part-time officer for the City of Belle Fourche Police Department. The hourly rate for part-time officer is $17.43 per hour. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Rich.
Second, Digger.
Discussion, please. We're all educated on this, Monty?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
I did talk to Dwight as it was sent back to this committee, they wanted a full legal opinion. I did go to Dwight, talk to him, and since his actions were not on duty and have been fully cleared, there's really no extra liability other than hiring anybody else.
I agree. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do you have a question or you have a Cheeto?
I'm not looking for it.
All those opposed, same sign.
Mhm.
You're opposed?
Mhm. My apologies.
You okay?
I'm in favor of, yes.
Okay. Number 6, recommendation to apply for COPS federal funding grant. This grant assists in hiring and retaining officers and will reimburse the department for the cost and wages for employee for up to 3 years. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Digger.
Second?
Second, Rich.
I believe what I read is this is probably a 75-25 match, which is fairly decent. It's about what you see out of the COPS grant typically. What I need to find out is the way we've rostered in the past and things like that. We really don't have a set roster like a lot of agencies do. We can't use it to backfill a position. It has to be a laid-off position or a creation of a new position. And where we haven't had an 11th officer for at least 3 years, I think, is what we decided. So technically, we could probably call that a laid-off position, because we've never even tried to fill it.
Right.
So provided the federal system, the feds are okay with it, that's what we'll pursue that grant. And again, that's quite a little money. It's probably $50,000-$60,000 a year that will offset the cost of an officer that we're already technically kind of supposed to have. And it's the perfect time to do it because we're hiring the school resource officer, so we'll write it as the school resource officer grant, and give them some other ancillary duties such as drug investigations will probably be their second.
Another thing with this is you have to sign on that when you do this grant, it's a descending grant. You start out the first year, if I remember how it was. when
This
we
one
did
was a
it
little
before.
different than what I've seen before, where
Was
they
it?
want 25% each year for the 3 years, rather than start at 100 and step down to 75,
Oh,
50,
okay.
25.
But afterward, I think you have to sign on to keep that position for a period of time after that, which if it is the resource one,
I think it's 1
We're
year is,
gonna
is our only commitment, so.
do, you know, we're,
Um,
that's filling that position anyway, so, which I think we would probably keep. So, yes, sir.
Noticing that it's all capitals, I have to ask, does it stand for anything other than a copy?
Community-oriented police, something, it's the
Well,
community-oriented policing system.
Community-oriented policing services.
Okay, because I know that we get that question a lot with acronyms or abbreviations, is what does this mean?
And that's where you have to tie it directly to a community position. It's not just to hire a police officer to go take calls,
So it's COPS.
Yes,
Got it.
but it is cops. We call it cops.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Number 7, recommendation to increase Ryan Shervini's pay for a completion of South Dakota Law Enforcement Academy effective June 3rd, 2016. The new pay will be grade 10, step 3 for $15.58 an hour. That just doesn't seem like it's enough.
June 3rd is when he's finished?
Yes,
or-
that's his graduation date.
But we know that he's completed.
He's,
Do I have a motion?
Motion, Digger.
Second. You second? No.
I'll second.
Okay.
yes, this would be contingent on the completion of that he actually graduate, which is
Yeah.
not going
What are you
to.
writing a book?
Just make sure we got that in the
Yep.
recommendations.
We've gotten very, very good reports on Ryan, he's very mature, he's not gonna screw anything up, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Number A, recommendation to hire Clint Hafner for code enforcement animal control position at Belfish Police Department. The pay for this position will be grade 10, step 1 at $14.83. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Rich?
Do I have a second?
Second.
What's the start?
What's that?
June first.
June 1st is when it is. So that you would come on board.
No more discussion.
Is that
Yep,
the
I didn't talk to him until
Is that
after
the-
all this.
grade one, or grade 10, step 1, that is the wage?
That is the wage.
At that-
Changed from what the actual job, the job posting puts grade 10, step 1, but it showed 1447, but
Yeah.
they forgot to change it with the 2.5%
Yeah.
cost of living increase.
Well, I actually just was thinking it wasn't enough, but like none of, I don't think. any of
That's
them
the same
were, but
starting
that's
wage
okay.
as my starting police officers.
Okay.
Alright, they're starting at the same place. Obviously, police officers have some room to advance, but I would agree it's not enough, so if you wanna give us all more money, I'm okay with that.
If Gloria wasn't sitting here, we'd
Yeah.
we'd be talking about it.
Huh?
I'm gonna close it.
Wasn't you just saying?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Number 9. I think this one's really cool, actually. Number 9, recommendation to partner with the South Dakota Department of Labor to provide a workplace for senior citizen looking to build job skills. The wages are paid by the Department of Labor as a part of Senior Community Service Employment Program. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Rich?
Second?
Second.
Be nice, James.
What?
Well, I just thought maybe Monty would be interested in that job.
I knew that's what he was doing, and Monty was shaking his finger at him.
Yeah, you guys play nice.
Well, of course.
I
This is,
think this is great.
this is a great job. They
I
gave us
don't
the
get
name
mad.
already.
I don't
the
get mad.
background.
I get even.
That's good. This is basically just the permission to sign into the agreement with them. They pay everything, workman's comp, absolutely everything. It's 20 hours a week, which a 10 to 2 schedule would be perfect. It gives Marty some time to take care of some evidence things, and it keeps us open for that
That's
time.
kinda nice.
And what
Don't
was
they
it?
pay it up to 3 years?
It's a maximum throughout the life that they're with the program, so
It's 3 or 4.
They-
It's-
I think she said 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah, but they could, you know,
They may
obviously
stay
if
for
something
full
doesn't
time.
work out with us, they wanna expand their skills to a different area, then they have the opportunity to move on to a different
And it doesn't
location,
have to
so.
be 20 hours a week, so like if Marty's gonna be gone for 3 days, they can work 24 hours and then just take a day off the next week, because it has to equal out over 2 or 3 weeks, according to what she said, so. It would really, really help us out, the person they suggested, we don't have any real contact with them, so. we'll let
And the
this-
background cleared and all of that.
At this point, the background's cleared, we still gotta do an interview with them to make sure that they'll be a fit, and, because they do have access to all of our records, which there is some private stuff in there, so that'll be one of the biggest things, to make sure that it's not a gossip of some sort that will spread our news all over the place, but,
Is it Francis?
no, I love it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. 10, recommendation to reimburse the following individuals that were overbilled for code violations. Motion?
Motion made.
Second, Rich?
How did you get so many? And her name isn't spelled right.
I apologize.
That is my fault, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
Greg looks right to me.
Type typing.
I will let Chief Jones explain to you.
What happened is, we received a issue in somebody's billing, the mayor and I were there together. We received somebody and they produced a bill saying, this bill seems high. It was 6, 8 months old, 4 months old at that point. We looked at it and there was a fee that was added to it that was a service that we didn't provide. The way these work is you have to, when you file for an assessment roll, you have to put in the $60 filing fees, because you can't add it later. Whatever the council ratifies is gonna go to the assessment is what has to go. Well, then that bill goes to the people certified letter, letting them know that they're gonna go onto the assessment roll. So that's in June or July. and then we don't file till September 30th, so if you come pay that bill in the meantime, which your bill had the $60 on there, you paid the extra $60, which that, you paid for a service that you didn't receive. Lori and I found out about that, we went back through all the records of 2015, and this is the list of people that paid from the first meeting in July through September 30th.
Thank you for doing that.
There's still a couple little things we have to clean up that Gloria, myself, and Dwight are working on that we have to go through a little more process on some other stuff that was an inappropriate bill. So you have my apology from the city that you received a bill that you shouldn't have received. And we'll do everything we can to correct it.
Glad you found it and fixed it.
Yes, thank you very much. I know that you've been stressed out about
It was
that
some work, but
for a long time. I mean,
He kind of looked at me like I'm not an internal auditor, and I said, well, I'll just tell you what you have to do, because it isn't my place to do that and work, you know. It was when I was here before, but not now. So he just kind of looked at me and I said, go get this, go talk to this, do this, so we could put the whole thing together. And then he'd say, okay, I got that done, now where do we go?
and now that the billing's done out of my department, and we've caught this, we understand the process that we need to go through forward, because we still have to have that $60 on there in case they don't pay it. But the process that we'll start using on our billing, which is hopefully gonna be more effective and not have errors.
Good thing you had a good director to tell you what to do.
well, and Marty's put in
Mhm.
her time as well.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
this
yes,
situation,
she has,
so-
because through the compiling and getting the reporting and everything,
And we've,
it was a
yesterday we
teamwork.
created we're gonna try to do all the billing and everything right in our Zerker program that we use for all of our policing calls, everything. And what it allows us to do is, I've created a form that we will attach to the CFS, which is when the officer says, I'm out at this address for this reason, it's gonna create a call. When they click on that call, they can click to add a form, and they can put all the billing and comments and information on that form. And then I've built a separate report so that, you know, say 6 months down the road, they wanna pull up everybody that's got a code enforcement bill, and it's gonna populate all those bills, and it's gonna summarize who's paid, not paid.
And we can close it out different
So-
ways, so it'll be billed, it'll be paid, and so
That way the
We have a-
$60 fee.
it was quite a little work for Marty. We sat down for a little bit, I got frustrated and confused rather quickly.
Couple different times.
So Marty finished it, and the tracking system that we're gonna have in place is gonna be so much more monumental.
It's not gonna be
Because we already own
500
the data.
spreadsheets, like
No.
a different spreadsheet for every single bill, it's all gonna be auto-populated in one
Well,
program.
thank you.
That's
Like a
all.
database,
Yeah.
and you can pull
So
things
much.
by.
Yeah, you can
belongs.
search by their
Just
name, you
more
can search
efficient.
by their
Yes.
address, you can search
That's
by
what it
that
used to
call.
be. I mean, you're,
And it serves the customer better.
Right.
And that's ultimately, the goal is to have better customer service, and
Right.
that's what we're shooting for.
To
You're
answer your
dealing with
question,
funds,
why we
you have
went,
to be accountable
this,
for
this
that,
was
so.
to be fair
I would love
to
to still have an employee over
everyone.
at City Hall.
We do
I don't
the
like
same
dealing
thing
with
for
money at all.
everyone.
I know you don't,
That
But-
sounds like it's all
and I don't know
fixed
how
now.
we could,
No,
They-
it has to
They've
come
had
through.
very, very
It's
good
not a big
ideas,
deal.
I just
We'll receive
kinda
it
got
out,
to
we'll
sit
give them a
back
copy of the
after a
bill,
while, and
Show that it's paid and everything. will be-
But
it's gonna be-
anytime you have to congregate back information together, it takes time. It's very labor intensive.
pretty
You have to do
consuming.
all your discovery, everything, so.
Especially when it's something that you're not used to
I
having to
would
work
like
Well,
to
and you
try
hadn't
to
done
come
it.
up with a way that they can pay a City Hall bill,
Now you have to handle limits.
just because it's more
Oh,
simple.
perfect,
for
it's gonna
most
be a
people to get
it's
bill
gonna be a
from the
learning
city, go to
process,
City
cause
Hall, nobody pays bills.
Clint Hafner will
at
start
the
and
police
it's gonna be
department,
a,
so We'll work on
we're all
that,
gonna have to
and
sit
come up
together
with a
and
process
like
to make sure it's
work
getting
it out and
tracked
make sure my
back
reports are
and
gonna
forth
work for what I'm
100%
doing.
before
At
we.
least you got a fresh
if
person.
there's a,
Yes,
like
You
a
know,
department
not
code or
somebody
something
that's
that
deep.
would,
I'm very
Where
motivated,
they just
extremely
snap 'em roll up and then
motivated
And
person.
organized.
Or grabs them,
Organized,
takes them
he's
over and
a hard worker and
closes them all out.
self-motivated, so.
We just have to make sure to do that, otherwise we have problems, so
right.
I don't wanna have any errors in that for sure, so
Do you guys have one of those fancy, credit card machines down there?
we do.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
I don't encourage people to use it because it charges an extra fee. So
Good.
if they wanna write a check, I say write a check. So
Okay.
And we're charging the 3%,
the 3% goes to the company that supplies the credit card
and
machine.
are we billing that back, adding that to them, or I think we decided that we'd just eat it, right? That was our I don't remember which one we did. It was kinda up to the individual departments if you were gonna charge the extra 3%.
Oh, no, with this new company on this credit card machine, that 3% automatically goes to that company and then we get the $5 for the dog tag or
Okay,
whatever.
so we are charging the 3% back. With this, we'll have to do that.
Okay. Anybody else? Stephen, James, Monty? Tyler? Nothing else?
Are you ready for me?
I think,
Oh, did you like to,
No. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just hadn't written lie.
All right.
Tyler did have something to discuss with us. I
Okay.
didn't get it on the agenda, so I apologize.
One thing I just was gonna say, Tamara, we were talking about the things that are gonna go up here front and everything. If you would down here at the bottom, add an informational thing, that way anything that pops up and people wanna come and talk about it, then they can.
Okay, so, just
So-
like a
It'd be like
public, open
Or just an added
discussion.
agenda.
You got one more?
informational or,
Yeah,
whatever,
Okay, the reason I'm here to visit with you, I talked to Scott a little bit about sirens, and quite honestly, didn't know exactly which agency within the city would be the voice for sirens, but we thought police was probably appropriate. We've gotten over years, there's people in schools, offices, homes, that, especially now with you have triple pane windows and R30 insulation, if you're indoors, you're not likely gonna hear a siren. I mean, in this building, I'm sure you can't hear the noon siren, and there's one that's right across the river, less than a quarter of a mile away. People expect to be warned of incoming threats, and it's a valid expectation to make. As government agencies, what responsibility do we have to ensure that they are warned? It's a good question with not a really good answer. You've got people inside homes, single families, single people. Is it on us to make sure that they're warned of threats? You got schools, libraries. Is it on us to make sure they're warned of threats? Like I say, it's a good question without a really good answer. But to that end, I just wanted to visit with you all to kind of get on the same page, because I know what my opinions are as an emergency manager, but I wanted to air that out, because if there's conflicts there, we all need to be on the same page. So with the idea, if we were going to place sirens throughout Belle Fourche to warn everybody that's inside a building, we would need a lot more sirens. We'd probably need to double our quantity. They're about 25 grand a piece, depending on this and that and the other thing. But if you're looking for just kind of a ballpark, 25,000 for purchase of a siren. They have a life expectancy of 15 to 25 years. 15 kind of being on the short end, 25 obviously on the long end. Roughly $1,000 a year depreciation. Now, the initial upfront cost, we can get Homeland Security to reimburse us for the purchase and installation of the siren.